We want to talk a little bit about raising prices. When is a good time to do that? We've all been feeling that crunch of inflation and the cost of goods are going up, but if your clients are similar to mine, it's not really like our incomes are going up. So how do we navigate this in a service-based industry? When is a good time to raise your prices? How should you do it? When should you do it? And how can you communicate that to your client? And should you even do it? Raising your price should never be arbitrary. You don't just do it because other people are doing it. So actually go and look at your numbers. Have you experienced inflation and higher pricing on your goods? Is it costing you more money today than it did last year? If gas prices in your area are up, clearly you may need to raise the travel fee prices if you're mobile. If you're in studio, did your rent go up? The other thing to consider is if it is time to raise your prices, if it makes sense, what are other people charging around you? What you want to compare, you never want to be the cheapest and you never want to be the most expensive. I've always priced our services somewhere in the middle. Try to find a number that makes sense for your geographical area. Spray tanning is pretty standard across the US. It's still pretty standard. So rates for an average mobile, custom, airbrush tan, well, in studio or mobile, is usually somewhere in that $50, between $40 and $60 is standard across the US. So depending on the add-ons and what else you're adding into that service is where you're going to get that range between the 40 and 60. So if you are charging $25, $30 for a tan, no girl, you need to increase those prices because that is not commensurate with what is going on in the industry. So don't be afraid if you aren't fully booked. I fell into that trap early on in my business where I thought, well, until I'm fully booked all the time, I'm not going to raise my rates because I'll lose customers. But the reality is, the facts don't back that up. So increasing rates to really be commensurate with your skill level, with what's going on in your geographical area, can actually, you can lose some clients that are just deal shoppers, but your good, loyal clients are gonna stay with you. And additionally, you may bring in a higher tier level of clients who wasn't even looking at you as an option because you were so cheap. So that is definitely something that happens. And if it's time to increase, then here are some steps to do that. So Q1, January Q1, is a terrible time of year to raise prices. It just shouldn't happen. First of all, just think of the psychology of how we're all feeling in January, especially if you live in an area that's affected by the weather. I know California, Hawaii, they're kind of warm most of the time, but for the rest of us, it can get cold, it can get rainy, it's dreary, it's gray outside, people are worried about taxes, they're just coming out of Christmas, paying off those Christmas shopping sprees that they did. People are not feeling well, we've got flus, we've got viruses, all sorts of things going on. So people are sick, people are tired, people are cold. A price increase does not go over well during a time like that. Plus, we tend not to be super busy during this time of year. So now is not an ideal time to do a price increase. So forget Q1. After you've done some analysis and you've decided that it is time to raise your rates, put a little bit of pause in there because you're not going to do it Q1. You're going to do it spring. Why? Because that is our most sought after and profitable time of the year. People are excited, they're optimistic, they have events coming up. So they are wanting and needing spray tans and they're excited about it. People have things to look forward to and they are less likely to be upset by a slight price increase. And when you do actually give a price increase, do not apologize. Apologizing for a price increase makes it sound like you're doing something wrong, or like it's not in your control, or oh, you're throwing your hands up in the air, kind of a thing. I understand that wanting to pass the buck, pass that blame on, because number one, it is not your fault that inflation is happening. It is not your fault that things are more costly. And ultimately, your clients know that too, but that's not what they want to hear. People want to and are willing to spend money on something that is a value, that they value. So if you're providing a great service and you're providing great customer service and you have loyal clients, they are not going to be upset by a slight price increase. It may actually, a 10% increase for you in your service, don't just think about the 10% increase on the one service. Think about if you're increasing by 10%, you're increasing your total profit for the whole year by 10% by doing a small increase on a service. So consider the big picture here. That small increase is not going to price you out with your great and loyal clients. So just throw that idea out of the window, because it's not true. They're going to stay with you. But messaging does matter, because it affects the feeling people have about a price increase. So you're not going to apologize for it. And I'm going to go into how you should word it and give you some ideas. But you're not going to apologize for it, and you are going to give notice. It's not something that you should just change your prices and not say anything. That's not fair to your regular clients and to your loyal, good customers. So you are going to address it, but you're not going to apologize for it, and you're going to give at least 30 days notice. So here are some options in ways to increase your pricing without gouging your clients and without just simply saying, my price has changed, here you go. Number one, you can simplify your offerings. If you currently have 5 different options, specifically tanning, let's talk about, because this also applies to teeth whitening as well, this whole shebang-a-bang. But let's just say for spray tanning. If you currently have a basic tan, then you have a custom tan, but then you charge different for a rapid, or you charge different for the shoes, or you charge different if they want a prep spray. Simplify these things. That is a fantastic way, consolidating things and making it more simple, and you'll have your price increase inside the simplicity of what you're combining. So we always recommend 2 options. Don't complicate this for your clients. The same thing goes for teeth whitening. 2 options is great. 3 at the max. Anything beyond that, it goes all over their head. It overwhelms people. People don't want it. So we like 2, but 3 if you feel like you really need it. So you want to have a basic option. We call that classic. So you have a basic option at a set price. And then you have the experience, the custom. We call it signature. The signature experience for your spray tan. That's going to come with all the fixins, right? It's going to come with all the customization options. They may not need every single one of those options, but all of those options should be included in that price. And by simplifying it on your menu, you then are taking away all the $2, $3, $1, all of those things. Combine, come up with your totals, go ahead and do your price increase that makes sense, and then move forward. Here's an example of how I would word it. I would put this into an email and or a video message, as well as then have some collateral, some graphics, some images, some things that kind of go along with it to kind of wrap that all up in a pretty package. Again, I'm not going to do it Q1. I would be doing it early spring. So in order to do that, you gotta do it a month in advance, right? So if you were gonna do this, if you want your increase to start in March, you're actually gonna start working on this now, have everything ready, because you've got to start presenting this in February. Or if you want an April launch, then you got to start presenting this in March. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you've got questions about that. So here's an example of what I would put out there. I would say something like, wow, you guys are amazing. I'm living my entrepreneurial dream because of clients just like you. Thank you so much. We've updated our service menu and prices. Here's your sneak peek. This will actually go live on blank, blank, blank date. Hugs, kisses, peace, however you kind of wrap in and close that out. And then I would include the new menu, the new look. If you want to throw in a little free sample of something during that first month, that's always an option as well, like a little sample of a product. Start looking at your numbers, look at your competition. If you're going to raise rates, put together a plan, give your notice, don't apologize, and come up with some collateral to go along with it.